Hello everybody, it is Nick here with another Nick's Topics Dragon Ball What If topic video for you guys today. And today, I am bringing you guys part 11 of What If Nam Became a Z-Fighter. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far, and now for a little recap of the last episode. Last time, King Cold, having lost Frieza in his first form on Namek with a combined attack from all the Z-Fighters, planned a revenge attack on the Earthlings and Goku for what they did to Frieza. But this time, instead of future Trunks, we get future Nam, an older version of Nam, akin to what he looked like in GT, who actually is one of the few survivors in the future Trunks timeline. A few others being future Gohan, who still survived, and unlike the other future Gohan, this one not only kept both of his arms, but he also attained the Super Saiyan and Kaioken powers. Well, he kind of already had experience with Kaioken, but knowing Gohan, this Gohan actually had the idea to use both Super Saiyan and Kaioken together. We saw a little bit of that with the Otherworld Tournament, which is non-canon, and Super Saiyan Blue and Kaioken, which is canon. So, for this to happen, Gohan would have to push himself very rigorously. But Nam isn't the only one besides Gohan who's alive, because Trunks is still alive and still rocking the sword, and he's still powerful, but unfortunately, he is an Earthling. Because of Vegeta's death way early on, this means that Yamcha and Bulma are the ones to have Trunks as a kid rather than Vegeta and Bulma. Because with Vegeta dead, I felt that Yamcha and Bulma would keep their relationship to a somewhat good standard, and over time, it would mend. It was only because of Vegeta that it was just a simple friendship nonetheless. Anyways, with future Nam, he explains all of this to Goku and Nam, the present ones, and tells Goku to achieve the Super Saiyan form first, because if he can get that form first, and by extension, training with the Kaioken, this might rub off on Gohan and further solve their training, making them strong enough to combat the androids. And it works! Not only does Goku use the Super Saiyan and Kaioken form somewhat effectively, but it also rubs off on Gohan. But by the 3-year time skip, I feel that they would at least both have Super Kaioken level 1, especially Gohan. Maybe Goku would have a few stages higher, but Gohan, this Gohan I don't see having that same thing, because future Gohan pushed himself. It wasn't until he grew up to like adult years that he actually was able to use the Super Saiyan and Kaioken forms effectively. Now when we get to 19 and Gero still attacks Yamcha, but Yamcha doesn't let Dr. Gero get a grip on him this time, because this Yamcha is much stronger than the original, because with the training of Kaioken and him basically having much better training and skill than the original Yamcha, he's actually able to not get impaled and get his energy sucked away. After that, all things progress as they do, up till we see the fight with Goku in 19, which I feel would still be kind of the same, maybe a little bit different, depending on how much data 19 and Gero collected from Goku and the others. But I still feel it would be sort of the same fight, if not maybe Goku a little bit more on the advantage. Meanwhile, Tien, Nam, Piccolo, and all the others are facing Dr. Gero rather than just standing there like they did in the original story, because that was apparently a thing. Anyways, after 19 absorbs Goku's Kamehameha, and Yamcha having some recollection as to what they were trying to do, that actually makes perfect sense now, This puts all things together, and they realize that the androids are trying to suck away their energy. Yamcha having a little bit of first-hand experience, almost having it happen to him. After figuring this little thing out, Dr. Gero gets one of his arms cut off in a flash by Piccolo, and Tien and Nam are about to make a dive straight for the other one. But with Dr. Gero's cunning and expertise in the art of combat and maneuvering, he's able to get away from them before his other arm can become powder, pretty much. 19 isn't so lucky. Goku is much more cunning, and he knows what everybody else is doing. He knows about the android's absorption technique now. So he slices both the arms off of 19 and blasts him straight on. And this incinerates 19. Dr. Gero is able to actually hold himself back with his other hand while also trying to make sure that it doesn't get sliced off in the process. But nonetheless, in the wasteland, mind you, not the mountains, he retreats, because he retreated in the mountains. So this is a location away from when he actually retreated and was backed into a corner. So this just tells you how far ahead the warriors are. Afterwards, Dr. Gero retreating, Bulma arrives on the scene, and with her knowledge, the others find out where Dr. Gero's lab is and head for it. Now, after this, besides the fact that Vegeta is not there, as well as Future Trunks, because I don't feel that he would make a true appearance, not much changes with the scene outside of the initial story. But there is something to note here. From my What If Hercule Became Z Fighter, present Cell was a problem. Not with my Giran story, because there was time travel, but not in Hercule's story. Now, with the inclusion of the future timeline, that means whenever the androids are awakened and everything, this means that with the future timeline, anyone being from that timeline, even if they had not met Cell, I feel that either before or after Imperfect Cell made an appearance, that the lab would be destroyed, even including present Cell. So this could have been before or after the androids or Imperfect Cell made his appearance, but that's going to be brought up more in a moment. Anyways, when the Z Fighters get to the lab, Dr. Gero still dies to 17 and 18. And speaking of whom, that's another thing to discuss. With Goku and Gohan having accustomed to the Super Saiyan form, and with Nam and Tien most likely training with them, this brings up something questionable, honestly. Would 17 and 18 lose their first encounter here, rather than the Z Fighters having to retreat? Well, if 16 was awakened, I see the Z Fighters retreating like my past stories. But if 16 was not awakened, I see the androids losing here, but I see 16 most likely still getting awoken nonetheless, which in turn would make the Z Fighters retreat, go up to Kami's lookout, Kami realizing this and also realizing Perfect Cell, or Imperfect Cell, mind you, and realizing that one of the only chances they got is for him and Piccolo to merge, the other being the Z Fighters using the hyperbolic time chamber. So Piccolo fuses with Kami, and as for everyone else, they use the hyperbolic time chamber, with Goku and Gohan noticeably, aside from Nam and Tien, getting very good gains, and afterwards completely dominating the androids. This is akin to my What If Hercule Was a Z Fighter story, where this similarly happened. I just see it happening in a different way because of Nam's influence. Afterwards, whether or not the lab was destroyed before Imperfect Cell made an appearance, Imperfect Cell would still be found, killed, and then present Cell in the lab would be destroyed. Either way, I see that scenario happening, but it really wouldn't change the overall dynamic of the story, so I'm not going to go in depth detail about what would happen. Anyways, with Kami fusing with Piccolo. That means they need a new Guardian, which I see Dende still offering, because Nail is still around, but he is the Dragon Clan. He's the Warrior Clan, not the Dragon Clan. So, I feel that he would stay on Namek nonetheless, seeing Dende be the new Guardian. During the time skip between the Cell arc, what would have been the Cell arc, and the Boo Saga, Goten is still born, and as for Hercule, since he did not participate in the Cell games and did not proclaim that he killed Cell, he still is the martial arts champion, but his popularity isn't up as high because he didn't get the win that he really, truly thought he deserved. And with that, we are going to end off here. Another saga wrapped up in the blink of an eye, a lot of those, but as I've said before, with another warrior's influence, no matter how minor, they could grow to prove useful in any standard. And that's probably what you guys have seen now. What did you guys think about this part, and what do you think is going to happen later on? Leave a comment, and I will see you guys next time.